Good morning to City Councilman Jason Baker. Mr. Baker, good morning to you.
Good morning to everybody.
I was very thrilled with myself for not calling you Jason Barrett because your names are kind of similar.
Born same year.
Sometimes I make that mistake. Do you guys graduate from the same class?
We would have been in the same class, not same school.
Same school, not the same school. Gotcha. All right. Let's talk about impact fees and the city of Martinsburg and the county of Berkeley and how these will be enforced and collected out of the city and your understanding of how this came about.
So, well, the first part, I feel like we've been sucker punched as a city and the city residents.
Why so?
We have been told by county officials that they were going to have no effect whatsoever on the city, and they had no intentions of putting them into the city.
The impact fees.
Impact fees, all the way up to the day that the final passage of the ordinance. I received a phone call from a county representative, and that representative very clearly stated that it was going to have no effect on the city of Martinsburg residents. I had multiple constituents reach out to me and state their concern. How's that going to affect the city? And I was like, told it's not going to affect us. You sure, Jason? Absolutely. People that I trust 100%.
People that you trust 100% told you it would have no effect.
Absolutely. And so, a week ago, it gets broke that, whoops, sorry. $3,500, I think roughly is what they're estimating that every structure will be assessed. And my feeling is the city has no voice. We had no voice in this. I've asked, actually this morning, of that county representative that I think the minimum that the county could do is to reopen it, to allow everybody that truly was affected by this ordinance, that didn't know that we were going to be affected by this ordinance, for there to be public comment. And not just bullcrap, excuse my French, comment where we're sitting here and we're playing a game where, well, the ordinance is passed, but if you want to come and complain, we can complain. Well, we got Facebook for that. Let's have an actual where before it's passed so we can have a conversation about it, because at the end of the day, you never want an equal government to be telling another government what to do. You know, what's good for the county and what's good for the city can be the same thing, but it might not be. The city is unique where we take care of our own roads, we take care of our own sewer, water, trash. We take care of our things. We, a council, and I'm just 1/7 of the council, we might choose that we want growth. We might want to not have impact fees. We might choose that, community development fee, we reduce that. So one of the first things that I did on council that got passed is we reduced our community development fee so that we could sport growth into the city. Because I think everybody would recognize that, and it's starting to change. We have a lot of empty lots sitting around the city of Martinsburg where houses have been torn down or never built on. Well, that costs money. An empty lot in the city is still, a fireman still drives by that. A police officer still drives by that. The water and sewer is still in front of that street. That might not necessarily be the same case in the county. If you're out in the boonies and, there might not be as much cost associated with that. And we might make that decision as a city that we need residents, and we might not. I think we do, but once again, I'm not going to speak for every other councilman. I'm going to speak for myself. But once again, I go back, we haven't had a voice.
Have you been in touch with any of the county commissioners?
I have talked to a couple of the county I have talked to a county commissioner.
Which one?
I prefer not to say.
What was the conversation like?
Pleasantly me upset.
And what were you told?
I was reaffirmed exactly what I was told before we knew that we were going to be affected by the impact fees, that they had no idea that it was going to affect. They have no interest in the city being affected by impact fees, and that they're being told that they have to do it at this point. So at this point, one of two things. One, their advice that they received didn't inform them that it was going to affect the city, because I absolutely trust the people that I've talked to with the county. Or they're lying to me, and I actually do not believe that they are. I believe that they were not informed correctly that the way the ordinances wrote, it was going to affect the city.
Can an impact fee be imposed on city residents without an effective comment period?
That is a good legal question.
Because they did have a comment period, but at the time, city residents didn't think they were going to be affected by impact fees.
Yeah, and obviously every county, I'll get to right to your question, but every county resident, or every city resident is also represented by the county. So yes, ultimately we had that open period, but people are busy, and are they going to show up for something that if they don't think it's going to have any effect on them? If city constituents are concerned about the rising cost of housing price, which is what impact fees are going to do, they're going to rise all housing price in the county. No one wants it. It's a thing they want to sugarcoat it. I'm not saying it needs or doesn't need, but there's a reason why Jefferson County's housing prices are more expensive than Berkeley County. It's impact fees. Simple. If it costs more to build a house because you got a $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 impact fee, that's getting added to the cost of new houses. New houses are going to affect the cost of used houses, which is going to affect property taxes, which means that the senior citizens are going to have more expensive, and people who can't afford to pay any more property taxes because the price of the houses are going to be increased. So we're going to be pushing people out. My argument is, we should at least have a voice to it. So I don't think that they met their criteria legally. I'm not an attorney, but because I believe that you should at least 100% give the information out to the people that could be affected by it.
Bill?
Yeah. Eddie was on, Eddie and Gokenhauer and Steve Catlett on last week, and a couple of weeks ago. The impression I had, Jason, is that they realized the path they'd gone down is one they cannot continue to go down. That they thought, they genuinely believed that the city was not going to be impacted. But I do not think they took any action. I do not think the ordinance has been passed. I think once they realized that the city were going to be impacted, then they stopped the process to bring the city in. So the city, the impression I have, the city is going to be brought in as a second pass through this. So I do not think the county has been duplistic. I do not think the county was intentionally misleading. And once they found out that the city is going to be impacted, they are going to bring the city in now.
It's passed.
It has passed. I did not think it had been.
It's passed. It comes into effect October 1st. It's done. The ordinance, and they haven't brought us in. Yeah.
That's not the impression I know. That was the target date, October the 5th or 1st, but I did not. I could be wrong on that, Jason. You're closer to it than I am.
Okay, there's a lot here to unpack. So the impact fees affect new construction.
Yes.
So the people,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please.
And once again, I'm not 100% sure, because some impact fees, and I have skimmed through that ordinance. Mm-hmm. Some impact fees also could affect structures that have sat vacant for a very long period of time. I'll give you an example of one. Interwoven. Everybody would make an argument that interwoven being renovated is a good thing. Well, impact fees, they would have, I know it's reduced rate because it's an apartment building, but I still think that their rate is like $3,500 a unit. There's like 400 units there. That could have been enough to that building just still be sitting empty. So I'll let you back over to your question, but it could also affect, depending on how that ordinance is, a house that's been sitting for 2 or 3 years empty. There could be a new impact on that house because it's been vacant and now they're coming back on it.
And do the impact fees inure to the benefit of this within the city? Do they inure to the benefit of the city or to the county?
There is no impact fee that's in there that will affect in the benefit of the city, as far as the city government and what is in our control. Because I understand that the three that is the judicial, parks, and
Police is one, education, two others. Yeah.
in education. We wouldn't do police because we have our own police.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing: everything that they've put out in their plan, 0 projects for the city of Martinsburg. 0.
Isn't the
When's
city
the
of Martinsburg an independent jurisdiction?
Absolutely.
So by what authority are you said a couple of times, I wrote it down here, they have to include the city. They said they have to include the city. Who's they? Who's
Their legal counsel, their
where is it? Okay, where does the impact fee come from? The dictate for the impact fee comes from
the county ordinance. It's through the state, through local powers. 2 years ago, when local powers got switched, that gave the county the right to do impact fees without having zoning.
Okay.
And so once local powers changed 2 years ago, which the city thought would have been no effect to the city. So guess what? The city of Martinsburg never. I'm not saying it would have made a difference in the county. I'm not an idiot and understand the political structure of the state of West Virginia. But at the end of the day, we never even said it. Our municipal league didn't say anything. It really does feel blindsided.
I don't understand. There's an apples and oranges thing here that just doesn't make sense to me. Separate fire departments, separate police departments, separate voting days, separate representatives, separate tax structure. You have a sales tax. The county doesn't have a sales tax. I don't understand where the authority lies for the county commission to dictate anything to the city. I don't see that legal linkage.
So unlike some other people that have been on the radio and stuff that only want to say one side of the argument and not give you the other side of where this came from, I will let you know why they feel like they have this right. There was a court case with someone who's no longer a judge, who moved on up, that affected Ranson, that has basically has changed it where the city has to be involved in it. In the impact fee, because like schools, because we don't have a separate school system like some counties in this country.
So there are no Martinsburg city schools.
No, there's no separate board of education part of that. Now, because I asked that direct question, because I knew schools were going to be a big chunk of impact fees. And I asked the question directly. I said, how are we not going to be affected by impact fees if the schools are they're getting their own money? And I was told, you're not going to be affected. I asked that question directly. I didn't verify and check everything. But to go back, Mr. Stubblefield, I do believe the council didn't think that we were going to be affected. I truly do believe them.
Martinsburg City Council.
No,
County Council.
Berkeley County Commission.
County Commission.
Well,
Yeah, they're a commission now, yeah.
but they, I didn't think they were going to be affected. So I believe them. I think that one of two things. Their counsel, legal counsel, or the company that they hired to do it, didn't inform them of this, or they didn't directly ask the question. But at the end of the day, we're still in the same position, and I don't think that it's much to ask for it to be paused and it to go completely. You don't have to start back at point one, but let's go back to first and second reading of an ordinance, so that we have the time frame and we have public hearing and so that every single person that is going to be affected by the impact fee has a voice. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't give much choice, but for, in my opinion, and this is city council's decision, I think it's a lawsuit because we have to protect our city residents.
Well, there's another ramification to this as well. And John, part of the answer to your question is that the city of Martinsburg residents are a part of Berkeley County as well. Unlike some areas where the city is cut out separately from the county, city residents are also part of Berkeley County. The county is working toward a 1% sales tax. Whether or not they get it, I don't know. But let's look at the theory of the impact fees and apply it to a sales tax. At this time, when the Berkeley County Commission members talk about a sales tax, they routinely talk about carving out the city of Martinsburg, which already has an additional 1% sales tax. If we follow the same logic, and maybe different laws apply, I don't know, but if we stay consistent on this, then if the city eventually got a 1% sales tax, would it then not also have to be applicable? Sorry, if the county got a 1% sales tax, would it not also be applicable then to the city for another 1% increase in the city sales tax?
I was told once again, I was told that it would not affect us. But at this point...
But if you can't carve out for impact fees, can you carve out for sales tax?
I can tell you that I would be very concerned.
And if you can carve out for sales tax, why can't you carve out for impact fees?
Because that would take the city sales tax to 8%.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other part of it, so the schools itself, I'm not so sure that the more proper way of doing this wouldn't be the county have their impact fees and let the schools and everybody that has came across to us saying that, hey, the parks, that they need impact fees to operate because of the growth of our county. I'm not here arguing the justifications of the impact fees. I'm more than happy to come back and talk to you about that because I talk forever about that. But I think the city council should vote on impact fees inside the city. Not because we actually have impact fees. We call them differently. We call them community development fees, which that money has been around. I actually don't know when it started, but it's been around for a very long time, that we have been charging our builders for years, which goes to growth in our roads. Because that's the other part about this. And this is the frustrating part is, okay, school population's decreasing. That's a fact. They predict 5 years, school population is going to decrease. Yes, we know our school infrastructures, the buildings themselves need renovated. I'm not here arguing do they need the money or don't need the money. But we do need to know, we need to be upfront with the information. School population, last time I was on here, I got kind of that's not correct. Well, it is correct. In the 4 high schools, 3 of the high schools lost population this year, 1 gained by like 20. It was small portions, but it was what it was. So, parks. We have people in the park systems that they need more money to operate the systems that they want, but we want autonomy. We are autonomous. We are a city that needs to be able to make decisions for our residents that benefits our city. And while we're so much more unique, is I would make an argument, the biggest thing affecting the city of Martinsburg, or I'm sorry, not city of Martinsburg, the biggest thing that affects every resident every single day isn't the schools. It's not police and fire. It's not the parks. It's our freaking roads. I mean, our roads are bad. We don't have enough. They're not big enough. They're not handling the traffic right. And so we're going to put impact fees. So we're going to charge $5,500, which the rumor is this is only a one time. Then they're going to go to $10,000 next year. Which is the same thing this Jefferson County did, is they're going to reevaluate and then they're going to want more money because we always want more money.
Yeah, clarification very quickly. The ordinance was passed, as you're correct, I was wrong, and they're in the 60-day waiting period now, and so I stand corrected there.
By the way, Commissioner H.D. Boyd will be on the show tomorrow.
Okay.
Eddie Gokenauer and Steve Catlett Wednesday morning.
Okay, good. And it's also my understanding that the the county is looking for some of the impact fee to go into the parks and rec that are within the city. But
hold on. That they say this, but right now everything that they've projected has $0 going to anything inside the city of Martinsburg. 0. Big fat 0.
That'll be a question that will be asked to HD and Eddie and them.
A big fat 0.
Yeah.
So everybody in the city is gonna feel this because we could, once again, I go back with the impact fee. Everybody's, oh, it's on the builders. They're the problem. It's everything in there. Everybody will feel this pain. Everybody will feel this. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take 5 years. It will raise your property taxes. 100%. It's going to raise your property taxes because it's going to raise the value of the properties.
When is the next city council meeting?
Our regular scheduled meeting in October.
October.
Now, on the positive side, the fact that nothing is scheduled for the city is an indication that they were telling the truth when they didn't think that it was going to apply to the city. So
I will say 100% that I truly believe that the county commissioners are being truthful with what they say. I am not calling them liars whatsoever. I want to make that very clear. That is not the side that I think that has misled them. And
as a practical matter, for a current resident in Martinsburg, who they've got their home, they've got their apartment, wherever they're living, does this have a practical effect on them?
Short term, probably not in like the next 6 months, year, but it'll, once again, I go to property taxes. It's going to raise property taxes.
But not by very much. Not when you actually look at the property tax. It's not going to raise it $5,500.
It's not going to raise it $5,500, but here's the difference. A builder is going to get charged $5,500 to build a house, right? Okay, he's going to double that number because that's what they're going to do. So that house now is $11,000 more because they're not going to eat money that's been set in there just to eat it just because they feel good. And if the market can bear, obviously we understand that part. So now that house is $11,000 more because of the impact fees. So now the house that I own right beside it that I bought last year that has no impact fees, now the builder builds a house in that same subdivision that's $11,000 more, means that my house is worth $11,000 more. That's a one-time fee. Okay, it's like paying a sales tax. Okay, you pay it, no big deal. What the real issue is now for the next, I don't know how long you've lived in your house, 30 years, 40 years?
30 years.
Okay. So you say it's not $5,500, but let's just say let's use
15 seconds,
$50 a year for the next 50 years of your life. When you barely can pay your insurance, you can barely pay for your prescriptions, you can barely pay to go to the grocery store, you can barely put gas in your vehicle.
On that note,
as the roads are falling apart because we're not changing it with the impact fees.
Got to cut you off, Jason Baker. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
your appearance here this morning. We are back with Wayne Clark, Delegate Clark, after these.